If it'll let me. Here we go. Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Greg Sloop, and it's time for Live at 5 on this Monday, June 9th, 2025. Hope you're having a great day where you are. It's a beautiful day here in Gaston County. A bit hot, but other than that, a gorgeous day, sun shining outside. We are continuing our one-year journey through the New Testament. Today, we're up to Acts chapter 25. We are starting to come toward the end of the book of Acts, and then we'll start on the epistles. But right now, we're looking at where Paul appeals to Caesar. That's his first section of Acts chapter 25, starting in verse 1. Let's jump right in with the actual passage itself. Now, when Festus had come to the province, after 3 days, he went up from Caesarea to Jerusalem. Then the high priest and the chief men of the Jews informed him against Paul, and they petitioned him, asking a favor against him, that he would summon him to Jerusalem, while they lay in ambush along the road to kill him. But Festus answered that Paul should be kept at Caesarea, and that he himself was going there shortly. Therefore, he said, let those who have authority among you go down with me and accuse this man, to see if there is any fault in him. And when he had remained among them more than 10 days, he went down to Caesarea. And the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, he commanded Paul to be brought. When he had come, the Jews who had come down from Jerusalem stood about and laid many serious complaints against Paul, which they could not prove. While he answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, nor against the temple, nor against Caesar have I offended in anything at all. But Festus, wanting to do the Jews a favor, answered Paul and said, are you willing to go up to Jerusalem and there be judged before me concerning these things? So Paul said, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat, where I ought to be judged. To the Jews I have done no wrong, as you very well know. For if I am an offender or have committed anything deserving of death, I do not object to dying. But if there is nothing in these things of which these men accuse me, no one can deliver me to them. I appeal to Caesar. Then Festus, when he had conferred with the council, answered, you have appealed to Caesar? To Caesar you shall go. Well, what do we need to understand from this? Let's grab some points here. Festus came to begin his new duties as governor of the region there in Judea. He first visited Jerusalem to visit, and the Jewish leadership asked about Paul. They asked him to bring Paul to Jerusalem. They plotted to kill him along the way. He refused, and he told them to come to Caesarea to offer their charges against him. He stayed in Jerusalem about 10 days and then went to his home base in Caesarea and summoned Paul for questioning. The Jews made their accusations, and Paul denied any wrongdoing in his defense. When Festus asked if he would be willing to go to Jerusalem to be judged, Paul appealed to the highest authority in the land, Caesar. At that point, there was no further discussion. To Caesar he would go. So then, Paul also appears before Agrippa, another king. Agrippa was a king, Festus was a governor. The king Agrippa came, one of the sub-rulers of Caesar's kingdom. Verse 13, and after some days, King Agrippa and Bernice, which was his wife, came to Caesarea to greet Festus. I guess they were coming to say hello in his new office. When they had been there many days, Festus laid Paul's case before the king, saying, there's a certain man left a prisoner by Felix, about whom the chief priests and the elders of the Jews informed me when I was in Jerusalem, asking for a judgment against him. To them I answered, it is not the custom of the Romans to deliver any man to destruction before the accused meets the accusers face to face and has opportunity to answer for himself concerning the charge against him. Therefore, when they had come together without any delay, the next day I sat on the judgment seat and commanded the man to be brought in. When the accusers stood up, they brought no accusation against him of such things as I supposed, but had some questions against him about their own religion and a certain Jesus, who had died, whom Paul affirmed to be alive. And because I was uncertain of questions, I asked whether he was willing to go to Jerusalem and there be judged concerning these matters. But when Paul appealed to be reserved for the decision of Augustus Caesar, I commanded him to be kept until I could send him to Caesar. Then Agrippa said to Festus, I would also like to hear the man myself. Tomorrow, he said, you shall hear him. So the next day, when Agrippa and Bernice had come with great pomp and had entered the auditorium with the commanders and the prominent men of the city, at Festus' command, Paul was brought in. And Festus said, King Agrippa and all the men who are here present with us, you see this man about whom the whole assembly of the Jews petitioned me, both at Jerusalem and here, crying out that he was not fit to live any longer. But when I found that he had committed nothing deserving of death, and that he himself had appealed to Augustus, I decided to send him. I have nothing certain to write, my lord, concerning him. Therefore, I've brought him out before you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that after the examination has taken place, I may have something to write. For it seems to me unreasonable to send a prisoner and not to specify the charges against him. Well, as you heard, King Agrippa and his wife came to visit Festus. I guess they were coming to congratulate him on his new position as governor. Festus asked for advice on what to do with Paul. He had appealed to Caesar, but Festus didn't have any specific charge to write against him. Agrippa asked to hear Paul himself, which he did the next day, and Festus stated that he found no charge against him worthy of death. So he gladly asked King Agrippa to hear the case. And we will find out uh, what Agrippa thought about the case in the next chapter, which we'll talk about tomorrow. But as you can see, this process is trying to be convoluted by the Jews. It's trying to be convoluted by even Festus and Felix and now Agrippa. It's becoming a real theater, if you will. Paul was innocent the whole way through. The Jews accused him. Felix didn't know what to do with him. Festus didn't know what to do with him, and now Agrippa's having to deal with him. And eventually he does go to Rome. We all know that, so we know the basics of the story. But the bottom line is this: no matter what you're facing in your life today, God has a plan that may include the trouble you're facing, and you just need to trust him long enough to see him do something good on your behalf. That's what Paul did. He got to go to Rome, where he knew he was supposed to go all along, and present the gospel to a lost and dying world there in Rome as well. Trust God, trust the process, believe that God's going to take care of you as you walk through it. And that's the word for today. It is good to see several on here with us. I see Jean Goodman, Kathleen Pallas, Sharon Noblet, Tona Green, Tommy Morrow. I see other numbers of people that maybe haven't been identified, but I'm so thankful that you're here. And I just pray that God will bless you richly. And thank you for taking the time to be with us. It is always our pleasure and joy to have you with us on Live at 5. Please spend some time with God every day in the Word of God and prayer. It's the best thing you'll do all day, and it can make a big difference in your day, in your world, in your environment. Spend that time with God. Can't be another thing in your life that will be more productive and more of a blessing than that. Please know we're praying for you, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, live at 5.